4W, we allowed people to choose between telling us about individuals or households, but it turned out to be a real mess. People were just mixing backwards and forwards between the two without identifying which one it was. So now we very clearly at the top of the column say individuals. That's why it's in bold. Okay. Put in the number of individuals that you plan on reaching. If you know the number of women that you plan on reaching, and the number of men you plan on reaching, and the number of children you plan on reaching, tell us that as well. If you don't know, leave it blank. I say leave it blank because the computer, I've actually, in the past, what everyone was doing was multiplying out the total by women by 51%, men by 49%, and lots of people were doing lots of calculations on their calculators and things like that. You don't need to. The computer is set up to do it for you, and the computer can do it more reliably than you can on your calculator. So if all you were going to do is multiply by 0.51 and 0.49, just leave them blank, because I've got the computer set up to do it in the background. You can't see it, it doesn't automatically put it in the columns, but off on the side, it's doing it quietly behind the scenes. You'll have to take my word for it. Actually, you won't. I'm going to show you how it works afterwards. If you think, I'll tell you what the computer is set up to use, and the computer is set up to do this calculation, to do the Pakistan national average, and the Pakistan national average is this: men, woman, adults. The men in the Pakistan average make up 49% of the Pakistan, males make up 49% of the Pakistan population. Females make up 51% of the Pakistan population. Adults make up 58% of the Pakistan population. And children under the age of 18 make up 42% of the Pakistan population. That's from the Pakistan census. Now, the computer will do that calculation behind the scenes. That's the averages that the computer will use if you leave those columns blank. Now, I got told yesterday that in the camps, children are more like 50%. And adults are 50%. If you have some genuinely better numbers than these numbers, then please feel free to multiply out and put your genuinely better numbers in here. If you are happy to leave it with the computer doing this calculation using these numbers, which is the Pakistan average, then just leave it blank and it will do it without you needing to do anything. So it's up to you. If you want to put the numbers in, then do. If you want to just leave the computer to do the Pakistan average calculations, then you can just leave those. You could just leave these woman, men, children cells blank.
And sir, if your target population is only children.
Yeah, if the target population was only children, that's what you would tell me. Okay? So the total target is 7,000, which is 0 women, 0 men, and 7,000 children. Yeah. Okay? Going across, the next set of columns, obviously the target is the number of people you plan on reaching or you hope to reach. The next column across are the number of individuals reached. And these are the number of people you've reached up to today, or up to the last information that you've had. So let's just momentarily change this to a nice easy one. NFI, and so hygiene kit distribution. We want to give out, we plan on giving out 1,000 hygiene kits. We have given out 100. 1,000 hygiene kits is about right for 7,000 people. We'll leave all those blank and we'll just trust the computer to fill them in. And we've only just started, so to date we've only reached 700 of those 7,000 people. Okay? We're almost at the end. The last ones are pretty easy. Contact person name. The best person and phone number and email address to put in here is who should someone contact if they wanted to know about this data. So it's normally the person that filled the spreadsheet in. But if someone had a question about this data, who would they contact? You know, it's not necessarily going to be your head of office or, you know, the head of your Geneva office. It's just, who's the best person to talk to about this data? The date updated is typically today's date, the date you're doing the data entry. Okay, so in this case we'd have 7 Feb 2013. And the comments is for anything extra that you want to give us. This set of comments here, I would not have put in. I would not have put them in because it says here project is ongoing. But I know the project is ongoing because it says so back here. So there was no reason to tell me that the project was ongoing twice. So I would have taken those things out. But if there is something else that you want to tell us about, you know, we've just had one here for hygiene kit distribution. So let's just say hygiene kits without aqua tabs. You know, some extra piece of information which is not captured anywhere else in the spreadsheet. Other people have asked me if you do know the number of boys and girls reached. If you knew that all, you know, perhaps you knew that all 700 people you'd reached had been girls. That's useful to put in over here. You know, all 700 reached were girls. Just anything extra that is not covered somewhere else. Yeah, no, that's it. So I'm going to. Any questions up to that point? Before I'm going to go through and put in a row of data to show you how to put it in the next thing. But before I do, any extras?
In this activity column, can you go to this activity?
Yeah. Okay, so we've got activity type and activity description.
The drop down list.
Okay, well first up we've got a drop down list on activity type, but I'll choose the water one.
Yeah.
And then activity description, you've got a drop down list here.
So for the organization which is working on all the three fields, like water, sanitation, hygiene, and then in different components, so it has to fill, like for example, 12-15 rows for all the.
You're quite right, you do. If you're doing, you do, that's the bad news, is you have to fill in 12 and 15 rows. The good news is, you've only really got to do that once. If you do it in the first week, you've put in your 12 or 15 rows to say that you're, well, I'll come down to the bottom and show you. Let's just say, I'll put in my favourite my favourite implementing partner, the Baluchistan Boy Scouts Association. I just love the fact that the Boy Scouts are out there implementing something. So you're quite right, let's just say that they're doing a whole lot of things. They're doing Aquatab distributions, make quite a bunch of them. And they're going through and they're building hand pumps, and they're going through and they're doing facility decommissioning, sanitation, they're building bathing facilities, sanitation, they're building pit latrines and NFIs, they're handing out hygiene kits. I've only put in 6. You're right, on the first day you've got to put in all 6 of those. But the next week, those are not going to, there's going to be very little that's changed on those. The main thing you're probably only going to be updating the achieved there and the individuals reached over here and the date updated. The rest of them you just leave. You don't need to re-enter them every single week. You know, you just change the number of facilities you've built, you change the number of beneficiaries you've reached, and you change the date updated, and you resubmit it. So you don't have to re-enter 10 things every single week. The second week is quite easy. The first week may take you an hour. The second week will probably only take you 5 or 10 minutes. Okay. There's one exception to what I just told you that I'm really glad that you reminded me about. The one thing that we want a new line for every week is water trucking. Okay? As we said at the beginning that we want to treat water trucking slightly differently from everything else. That's because the number of people we're reaching with water trucking, you know, can go up and down so much every week. And if you if you build latrines, they're there for that population for a very long period of time. But the moment you stop water trucking, those people are without water. So for everything except for water trucking, you put the information in once, the rows of data in once, and then you just update it. For water trucking, we would like a row of data every week. A new row of data for each week. Yeah, sorry. True, but by the time you've trained someone and done a hygiene promotion session for someone, that person has that hygiene promotion session for the rest of their life, or for at least the next couple of years. You don't need to keep giving that same person a new hygiene promotion session every week. But water trucking, you do need to keep trucking water to that person every week. It's consumed on a day, it's used up. Yeah. Okay, so water trucking is the exception. That's why we have different instructions for water trucking than from everything else. I hope it's clearly explained. I'll do an example for you for water trucking as well. But let's go down and just fill in an example for this one. I'm just going to delete some of the data that I just put in, and I'll fill in a row of data. Okay, so let's start with somebody. I'm going to start with. I'll put an implementing partner first. So who wants to be a guinea pig? Someone volunteer. You? Okay. So what's the name of your organisation? Oh yeah. Okay. RID. I've got that one. That's good. That's good news. So go down here. Okay, so we put an implementing partner, RID, and the computer has automatically said that it's an NGO. Now, can anyone notice, you can see from where you are, can anyone notice that the new data is in red? It's appeared in red. This row is coloured red, and that text is red.
I think when it will be complete, then automatically it will change.
Exactly, he's ahead of me. Once it's not completely complete, once you have the 9 priority columns in, the red colouring goes away. So it doesn't wait until you've got all 30 columns in. It's once you've got the 9 priority columns in, the red colouring will go away. It's a way that you can quickly see which data is incomplete. Okay, let's start. So I'm going to go back from some RID. Who's the project owner for UNICEF? So we're going to choose UNICEF down here. And do you know who gave the funding to UNICEF? Okay, if we don't know, either leave it blank, it's your choice, either leave it blank or just put in multiple donors. Okay? If you know the project code and the project title, put it in. If you don't know them, just leave it blank. It's not a high priority field. Okay. Wash. I hate typing when other people are watching, by the way. GNC IDP response project.
Project code PUK/10/13/13.
Okay. Going across, what's one of the activities you're doing in one of the camps? Just choose one.
Water filter.
Okay, water. And what's the water thing you're doing?
Do well water networking.
Tube well construction or
Providing water through water networking.
water networking?
Yes. Through water to well.
So it's well, is it? It's well, is it? Well, I'm just going to put in tube wells in.
No construction.
Okay, well, if it says repair, just regard that as maintenance as well, maintenance or operation. Okay.
Yes.
But it's not a it's a regular provision of water supply to
Water networking.
But from a well, right? From a tube well.
Like,
Yeah. Concentrate on the tube well part of it. It's the source of the water that we're really interested in. Because otherwise we end up in a situation where people will report tube wells and then the tanks that the tube wells were stored in and then the hand pumps that sat on top of the tube wells, and we don't want, the beneficiaries, we just want to know how they got water, and at the end of the day it was tube wells that was providing them with the water.
In fact, Kim, like as he mentioned, RID is not maybe the responsibility are responsible for the tube well. Like they have just put on the networking, and the tube well maintenance or construction or repair is somebody else's responsibility.
Okay.
They have
So they're just maintaining the pipes?
Yes, maintaining the point, and have to look into that water is easily available for the beneficiary or not.
Okay, that will be tricky because I don't. In that case, I would put something in the column in the comments, but I probably wouldn't enter that at all in this 4W. I would leave, because if you put that in, the downside of putting that in the 4W is we're going to end up double counting the beneficiaries, because if another implementing partner is actually put in for the same tube wells, we don't want to know about all the steps along the way. We just want to know that tube wells are providing water for this many beneficiaries. So your information manager and you are going to have to keep an eye out for cases where different implementing partners are actually reporting the same deliverable to a, I need to emphasize, this is not a work program tracking tool. This is not a way for UNICEF to monitor that you've done your work or for you to monitor that you've done your work. It's a way to us to monitor how many beneficiaries are being reached and where the gaps are. So you don't have to get every single thing onto this 4W. In fact, there's not activity codes for every single thing.
Can we do some changes in the activity description, like when we are celebrating the protocol of
Yeah.
chance that we can add in activity description?
At the moment, there's not. You can't add an activity description, but for something like Global Hand Washing Day, what I would do will be call it conducting hygiene promotion sessions, and then over in the comments write global hand washing day. Okay, that's how I'd handle something like that.
Yes, that will be better because if we put different activities in this 4W, it will be again very complicated. So
I think it's main activity.
but comment
What
is
is
there.
provision through networking?
Through
You can
networking,
add
one
one
activity.
activity.
We are
Because
performing in Toksa camp and also in Jaludhu camp.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's not networking that's providing the water. The thing that's providing the water is the tube wells. So it's water provision through tube wells. And you're right, that needs to be in there, but only the IP that is maintaining the tube wells should probably report it on this. We don't want the same IP, one IP reporting the well and another IP reporting the pipe and another IP reporting the tank and another IP reporting the tank. As I said, it's not a workflow tracking tool. We just want to know how many beneficiaries are being reached by those, served by those tube wells. This is a great question. It's good to iron these things out. But
Yes, but this can be mentioned in the comments because the direct column is free.
yeah.
Everything which is not mentioned here, we can just write it there.
Yeah, but the cluster IM, the cluster coordinator and the cluster IM are going to have to be really careful that the same beneficiaries from the same tube well aren't